Hey guys, Aaron here. I'm back in the garage on Help Me DIY. Today I am going to be doing another modification to my new garage. If you haven't seen the garage series, you can check out this link here. But today I am going to try to come up with the best budget parts washer. Like a lot of people that I found on YouTube, they are going with this parts washer from Harbor Freight. And I am going to do the same thing because I haven't found a better option. I am going to be doing a couple upgrades. One of them is a valve for the bottom of it to release the liquids easily. I picked up some gloves there for $3. The parts washer was $127. And I got this little dolly while I was there so I can make my parts washer mobile. And per everybody else, I am going to go with their recommendations of this PSC 1000. This is the parts cleaner solvent, and you can pick that up at any local Tractor Supply. It was $45 per 5-gallon thing of this. And the dolly was $30 at Harbor Freight. Now there are several people you'll see on YouTube that actually install an oil filter on theirs, and they think this is some big upgrade, which I completely do not understand at all, because where they put it is after the pump. So all of the stuff in the parts washer is getting pumped through the pump, and then it goes to their oil filter right before it comes out to clean parts. And if those little tiny particles are in there, who cares? Because you're putting them on dirty parts. I think it's a complete waste of money and time and makes a maintenance nightmare for those guys. So after researching it and finding different things that people do to them, I think this is going to be the best combination. Now you'll see when I get to it, there will be one more little part that I add over the filter, the green Brillo pads that a lot of people also use. But first, I'm gonna bust into the box and assemble this. All right, here's just a little time lapse of me assembling the legs. All you do is flip it upside down. There's 4 legs. It comes with a bunch of nuts and bolts. So you just use a bolt with a washer, a nut on the back side, nothing fancy about it. Just tighten all of them up. It was a 10mm nut on the back and a Phillips head screwdriver. And the flexible metal neck just screws into the pump assembly. All right, after getting the legs on, this is the drain plug that comes with the unit. And I mean, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. If you wanted to use this one, the reason that people replace them, I guess, is because if you're gonna drain this and replace it, it's a pain in the butt to do that. And then yank your hand out of the way and fluid's just gonna glug glug out of here. So this is the alternative. Supposedly this is the right threading, and I'm going to put a link to all the parts and stuff that I use in the description of this video. So you can get this exact same one. It was really cheap on Amazon. And it has a nice little valve right here that you can just turn, and it locks into place there. You lift it up and turn it again to open it. So once it's once it's closed, it locks itself into place so that it's not gonna accidentally get bumped and come out. It just screws right back on. Snug that down with the wrench. And so they call this a 14mm 1.5. So that's the threading that goes down here. And the thing that I bought also comes with this piece, so it's nice. It has the correct threads to screw into the other end of it. So you can put any kind of flexible tubing over this, and you can lead it down to wherever you're going to drain it from. So this is a really cheap and good upgrade that I believe in. Then just flip the assembly over and attach the pump. It just slides through this hole on the side. So one more thing that I discovered, I've never really seen the assembly process of this, but you're supposed to loosen these 2 screws, slip this thing through the back, and this little lip just comes over here, and it's just an empty panel around here. Then you tighten them back up. But that keeps it from going in and out. Still, you cannot tighten these to make this thing not move. So whenever you're gonna be moving this thing, it's gonna be shaking your pump all around. So just by looking at this, I think one mod I'm gonna make So I'm gonna cut out a little piece of wood or something and stick it in here so there's pressure against the top of this and under the lip, so that when I move this around, that's gonna stay still. So while I do the wood for that, I'm also gonna do my next upgrade, which is mounting this to this dolly so that I can move this around the shop, have the parts washer wherever I need it, and it'll make it a lot easier to move out of the way in case I need to do something, because when this is full of liquid, it's gonna be pretty heavy. So the issue comes to how to attach it. I've seen a lot of people use the wooden ones with fabric on the ends, but they did not have that one when I went to the store today. So this was a 30-inch by 18-inch dolly, I believe. And I set it next to the parts washer that they had set up in the store just to make sure that it would fit. And of course it does. So I saw somebody else do this on YouTube. I thought it was pretty cool. They took a block of wood, attached the wood here, and then attached the legs to the wood. Now there are little pieces sticking out here that you could just drill through the metal and then attach it straight into the plastic. I don't know how secure that's going to be there, so I'm going to more firmly attach a piece of wood to this, I think, and attach the legs to that wood. I just have a little scrap of 2x4 laying around, and I'm going to cut some 3-inch sections of a 2x4. There's no reason to be real accurate with it. I do want 1 inch left over though for my other little hack. So let me make sure I have enough. So apparently I cut this block at the maximum thickness. So it is 3/4 of an inch thick this way so that it can fit under the lip. And it is 1 inch tall this way so that it will hold this thing down. The length doesn't really matter, but I gotta jam that thing in there. Okay, so that thing should not move. So now from up here, when I move this, our filter and pump housing is locked into place and it's not gonna move at all. So actually one of the upgrades that I didn't even plan on making, the spontaneous one, might be the nicest or most necessary one of all so far. So for the next upgrade, since I'm going to be using these big barrels and I'm going to be collecting the old fluid in there eventually, if I installed the shelf in the normal place, I wouldn't have enough room to catch it. So I'm putting the shelf on the very bottom, and I'm also putting the shelf upside down so it'll have these little lips so things won't slide off. And I'm just going to use the holes that they gave me in the shelf, drill through the bottom of these feet and attach them with the hardware that they provided. Nothing fancy here, just a drill with a 1/4-inch drill bit. I just used one that's made for metal and drilled the 4 holes in it. I just did 1 hole per leg. That's going to be plenty to hold it on. Then just used the hardware with the washer and nuts provided, tighten all 4 up, and then I just gave it a really quick vacuum to get the little metal bits up. All right, so I'm second guessing the way that I was gonna mount this thing on here, because I have these on here simulating the weight of it. I mean, I can jerk that thing around and it's not moving at all, so I don't think I need to go as excessive with the wood blocks like I thought. I might take a couple sheet metal screws, just small ones, and go into the plastic. I don't know, but it's pretty sturdy. Of course, the other huge advantage of putting it on the dolly is that it is now at belt level. So this is like at the level of my belt now, so it's much more comfortable to come in here and stand and wash parts. I got everything all assembled now. Just drop the tray in. This is, they call it a little work basket, so I guess you can put your stuff that you've already washed there. And this is the filter that comes with it. It just slides up and off, and it's just this piece of white foamish, hard foam type stuff. Feels kind of like a Brillo pad, so that's what a lot of other people do. They double up the filter essentially by taking a green Brillo pad, cutting it out to this square and using some zip ties and attaching it on the front. to help filter out some big junk before it even gets here. So I think I'm gonna do that. I have to go see if I have a Brillo pad. All right, surprisingly, I did still have one of these. Put some links to these on Amazon in the description. It's just wide enough to cover this up. So I'm just gonna measure from here and cut it right here. Okay, cut to size. Just gonna do a little surgery on this thing. Put it here. Find a couple of holes on the outside. You and you. Just gotta put enough space in them to get a zip tie through. Actually, I'm gonna go through the other way so that the tie is on the outside and doesn't interfere with our pad that we're gonna put back in here. And I'm just gonna repeat the process on the other side. All right. After cutting the tabs off, just stick our original filter back in here and drop it back down into place. And there's our modified filtration system. All right, I want to test this thing out now. So let's start with one of these. So I'm going to put on my gloves for this, but much more importantly, eye protection, because you don't want this stuff in your eyes. I'm sure this stuff is going to splash around. Yeah. Last chance to check and make sure your drain is closed, because that would be bad. Notice this has a nice high flash point of 141 degrees, so that's good, so that it doesn't combust. And this stuff smells a lot like paint thinner. All right, I'm gonna put in the next 5 gallons. So you can see with 10 gallons of this, the filter is just covered, and there is, the liquid comes up almost to the bottom of the tray here. So let me plug this thing in and see if it works. All right, it's a little too far away from my outlet, but since we are on this, we can roll it a little over. Ta-da, okay. Now, let's aim this appropriately and fire it up. Just gotta pump it through the system. And eventually it comes out here. Voila, my first parts washer. This is exciting. Now I just need to get my hands dirty, pull out a piece of a car and clean it. So there is one more upgrade that I think would probably come in handy. It is a piece of insulation. People take the stuff you put around doors that has tape on one side. It's about, half an inch or 3/4 of an inch wide. And they put it all along the lid here so that when you close this thing, that thing out of the way. So when you close this thing, it makes an airtight seal here. So that is supposed to help with evaporation of this stuff, but I've heard that this does not really evaporate a whole lot. So I think what I'm gonna do is leave this here overnight just with the lid closed. And if I don't smell this stuff and it doesn't bother me when I come into the garage, I'll just leave it alone. Otherwise I'll get some and put that on as well. And finally, for my gloves, they probably have this at Harbor Freight, and I completely forgot to look for it, but they have magnets that have like a little pinchy clip on them. So I'm gonna just put a magnet on the side of this, clip my gloves to it, so I'll always have them handy and they can hang and dry. But yeah, also after filling this, I noticed how important that drain is, because if you just had a big bolt that you had to unscrew, you're gonna want a container that can hold everything that you put in there, because it's all coming out. So without this, now I can drain it with a hose directly into one of these until it's about full, turn it to stop the flow, move the hose over to the other one, and proceed and get everything out super easy. Oh, by the way, the next day, absolutely zero smell. I can get like right next to the corner, sniff in, and I smell no chemicals at all. So yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that seal. So just pick this thing up on Amazon and I'm gonna attach it. It gives me a lot more flexibility with an actual brush to help clean the parts. So just slide this right on here. All right, it is a really tight, snug fit. Now let me turn this pump back on. Now the water comes right out of this brush, so I can actually just scrub apart, and it's got instant stuff on it. So I just happen to have something ready. Let me try to clean it. All right, this is the engine cover from the E46 that we're giving away. Just removed it from the car to make a video on how to replace the gasket in here. But while it's out, I'm gonna clean it. So let's concentrate on some of these areas down in here. You can see how dirty and caked on the oil is. All right, you can definitely see that this is starting to dissolve all of the old oils in here. Yeah, so without the solvent flowing through here, you can see it a lot better. But yeah, it's definitely starting to do the job. I guess ideally I'll fill up some of these crevices and let them soak for a while, and then I'll come back with the brush and clean them. I think this brush is gonna be super handy for cleaning any parts here in the future, so I'm just gonna get back to this. So that's it, guys. I think those are the best upgrades that I have seen out there, all combined together for my parts washer. So look forward to using it and making some videos with it. So please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and you can see those upcoming videos when they come out. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.